Hello and welcome back. Last time I was flying the Arbitrator Covert ops in anomalies and I was mostly doing advanced missions. This time I was curious to see how the ship will perform in the storyline missions. Now, this ship is a little bit different from the Navy cruisers, mostly because it does have a cloaking device. And that cloaking device will eat up one slot. But first I will have to switch the missile launchers in the decomposers, and I will use dual drone damage amplifiers. Now most of the fit will remain the same and most of the rigs are also going to remain the same. I will actually move all of my items in the inventory here in the ship inventory. Now this mission here is a two-part storyline mission. You will have two combat sites to warp to, and I do expect this mission to have these highly lethal and very fast cruisers, because the last two storyline missions did have them, and this is a tier 6 storyline. The tier 6 storylines usually do have these cruisers. The tier 7 and tier 8 storylines also have these cruisers combined with battle cruisers that can also be very fast. Now here, when you warp in at the first site, you are going to be greeted by a couple of these ships that are going to be a mix of cruisers, cruisers, destroyers and frigates. And in this case, I do target the Mauler first, because that ship is the fastest and of course that ship is the closest to me. And so far, the drone DPS on this ship is doing a very decent job. The decomposers are my secondary weapon, and I will use the decomposers on ships that do get too close to me. For example, any frigate or any destroyer that does come close, I can use the decomposers on them. And I do have decent decomposer skills. They do actually a very good amount of damage, and they have very decent alpha damage. But for the vast majority of the combat here, I'll be using my drones. Now, speaking of drones, this ship only has 4 drones, and you can't control over 4 drones on this ship. But you have a very decent damage bonus on the drones, which you should take advantage of, because you don't have a lot of drones to control with this ship. And of course, the cloaking device will eat one low slot. That means you are not going to be able to use all 3 drone damage mods on this ship. And at the moment I only have 2, and these 2 so far are doing a decent job. Both of them are faction modules, and as faction modules they do give a fairly decent amount of bonus drone damage when activated. And of course you get a passive effect as well. So far this ship is melting all of the cruisers on the other side over here, and the next primary will be that destroyer. Now, I did notice that the game does have a bug or a glitch when you take a look at these ships up close. Sometimes the range and the kilometers get bugged and it doesn't show the exact number, and I did notice that the last time when I played this, because I used to get hit from 80 kilometers, and that was very weird because no enemy ship has that range. When I warped in and when I warped out, and then when I warped in, I did notice that the ships were a lot closer to me. So keep in mind that you might experience these kind of bugs if you take a closer look at these ships. But for the most of the time there aren't any issues at all. And okay, that was the first wave of enemy ships being shot down. Now this is the second wave, and at the moment there are no elite ships. So these missions usually have 3 or 4 waves. The first combat site will have at least 4 waves, while the second combat site will have at least 2 waves, but in some cases you might experience 3 or even 4 waves. With this mission, I do expect the first combat site to have around 3 or 4 waves of enemy ships, and I am still on the second wave. At the moment, no elite ship did warp in. You can expect elite ships to warp in at the third and at the fourth wave. Usually the ships that are very lethal, the cruisers and the very fast destroyers, are going to spawn at the third wave. And at the fourth wave you are going to have elite cruisers, but they aren't going to be that much of a threat as compared to the cruisers that might spawn in the third wave. And well, I am about to find that out very soon. 2 destroyers left and 1 Maler. Well, soon to be only 1 destroyer and 1 Maler. I should have targeted the Maler first, but I do use a trick that allows me to survive the incoming elite cruisers. Now, usually I do launch my drones at my primary target and then I take range from the target. That means I launch the drones at the maximum drone control range and then I turn around and I make at least 200 kilometers between my ship and between the enemy ship. That way I am very safe from any incoming fire and I do have time to make out the very fast and very deadly elite cruiser. Now this is the third wave and the elite ships have warped in, and I did find a elite Mauler, but it seems like that Mauler is not that fast. The fastest ship here is that destroyer, and of course the fastest ship in my case will be the primary target. And as you can see, I am within the maximum drone control range. I launch drones and I'll keep my range at around 50 or 49 kilometers from that destroyer. Now, I can also approach the ship and I can also use my decomposers, but I think I'll mostly remain at 50 kilometers from that ship, because these destroyers can actually have very nice weapons on them and they can do a lot of damage as well. Now, loot-wise, I think loot here is going to be very good, especially because these are Amar ships and you can expect to find modules to increase your armor resistance. You can find the armor hardener modules here, and you can find even the armor extenders here, which are all very decent modules, and if dropped by the elite ship, it will be a faction module that you can sell or use for a higher price. And of course, in the end, I'll be opening the crate to see what's inside. Who knows, I might get very decent loot. Okay, let's see. Now the next primary target will be that destroyer, because it is the next ship that is sorted by range. And of course, I still keep an eye on that Maler, because I don't trust these Malers at all. Especially after I witnessed these ships go 5,000 meters per second. For a cruiser, that's a lot, especially for a Guardian. But at the moment, there are no Maler Guardians, so I think I am safe from these ships. Well, that was nice loot. A faction energy neutralizer and a energy capacitor battery, both of which I could use, or I actually might sell them. I don't know yet. It depends from situation to situation. Okay, let's see. So I have that elite destroyer as my primary target. And after that, I will be going after that elite purifier. That is a bomber. The bombers, if they get close, they can do a lot of damage, and you should always keep an eye on them, especially because they are frigates after all, and you shouldn't allow any elite frigate to get too close to your ship unless you are prepared as a tank. The ships that have a very decent tank can do these missions at medium to close ranges, but I do still prefer this way of combat because I am safe from enemy fire. Well, not 100% safe, but still I don't take a lot of incoming damage if I don't make any mistakes. Next target is going to be the Purifier. Now, speaking of a Purifier, I am thinking of buying a potentially a Manticore. I think I actually do have all the necessary modules for that ship. I also do have faction torpedo launchers that I did get as PvP loot a while ago, and I will actually use that ship for very interesting situations, and I think it might be fun to use those ships. Okay, that ship was shot down. Now onto the Purifier, and after that I'll be targeting the normal targets because they are the next sorted by range. That Mauler appears not to be a major threat, so I will leave the Mauler when it gets in range. But this Purifier isn't having a good day because this Purifier has been attacked by drones. And this ship is... Wait, what? Did I see a Purifier using lasers? Okay, well that's a interesting choice of weapon for a bomber. I do have to try out some fits that are kind of ridiculous. For example, using autocannons on a bomber or something similar, because who knows, it might actually work well. I guess I will not be able to see that until I actually try it out. Okay, the next primary target is that Mauler, because it is within the range now. And here I did notice that that ship actually does have enough range to hit me from 50 kilometers, and that means I'll be forced to go at around 60 or 70 kilometers from this ship to avoid the incoming damage. And this is why you should be careful around these ships. Now, I'm not quite sure if those ships can hit a fast moving target at close range, but I would guess that they might be able to do that, because I remember that someone actually told me that frigates aren't that effective in these missions because all of these ships can actually track them at close range, and that is indeed kind of odd. But I guess I'll have to try that out as well to see if it will work. Now, speaking of frigates, I do plan to get I think I will go for the Incursus Assault. That ship appears to be interesting, and it is a interesting ship because I did see interesting bonuses that I do have skills for. And of course, at the moment I'm actually working to get a battlecruiser. People did recommend me a Prophecy, and well, I will get a Prophecy. That's one of my next ships that I will fly. And after that, I might be going for potentially a Myrmidon, but I'm not quite sure. It depends from the situation. Or who knows, I might have to actually get enough ISK for Plex, or enough ISK to get a Gila or a Cinnabal. It will be slowly time for me to save up my ISK for one of these faction cruisers. They are very powerful and they are going to be very nice for PvP. Now, this ship for PvP can be nice, but I feel that you need to have at least one more low slot for the ship in order for it to be very effective for PvP. And in terms of overall performance in that case, I would say this ship is quite average. The one thing that I do like about this ship a lot is the cloaking module, the Covert module that I do need. Okay, well, the second part of the mission will start with a system scan. you have to go to this system and scan the surroundings. After that, you are going to have to warp and to continue to the next combat site. So technically this is not a 2-part mission but a 3-part storyline mission, because this is one of the parts of the mission where you have to scan the system. Okay, well, time to do the next 10 jumps and to go to the second, or should I say, well, it is the second combat site. Let's see what will happen. Now, excuse me taking the screenshots. I absolutely love the color pattern on this ship, and I absolutely love the design of this ship, combined with the beautiful scenery that we can see here in the background. This will make for some very nice screenshots, and this game does look very pretty. Okay, warped in at the second combat site, and you are going to be greeted with 12 ships for the first wave. Now here be careful, because these cruisers do have around 50-kilometer range, and you are going to be taking damage from at least 50 to 55 kilometers. So in this case I think a close range fit might work if you have a ship that's built for tanking, or you need to have at least 60-kilometer range with your weapons, or at least 60-kilometer drone control range to do this mission without worrying. Or, in my case, I could have just used one shield booster and I wouldn't have to worry about anything at around 50 kilometers. So, you have a lot of options for these missions, and in my case, because I do like to have a full DPS fit, I don't have any shield booster module or any armor repairer module. That means I have to rely on the ship's velocity and of course on the ship's distance from the primary targets, and of course I have to rely on my own navigation skills here, because one mistake and I might have to warp out to the station, or I might have to warp out completely to refit. Now, at the first wave there aren't going to be any elite ships. The elite ships are going to be spawning at the second wave, and of course in the potential third wave. Now, some of these missions do not have a third wave in the second part, or should I say in this case in the third part. And I do have that feeling that I will not have a third wave of enemy ships, but I do feel that I will have to fight at least 25 ships in the second wave. And well, it will be in couple minutes I'll be finding that out. Now I have to say, this Omen looks very pretty. The ship design on the Amar ships is absolutely beautiful, and the Amar ships are indeed very elegant. Now, speaking of elegant ships, the Arbitrator has one of the more attractive hulls, I have to say. This ship is indeed very pretty, at least for me. I do like this type of design. Okay, let's target that frigate that came too close to me. Well, actually, the drones did melt that frigate, so it's not a big problem. And the next target will be that destroyer. After that, it will be the next destroyer, because I do want to keep the cruisers alive, because the cruisers are actually kind of heavier to kill, and I need time to make 200 kilometers after I shoot down the next ship, because I'll be preparing myself for the elite cruisers to jump in. These ships are going to be my primary target, because I do not want to have any fast Mauler Guardian approach me and potentially disrupt my warp and potentially destroy my capacitor. If that happens, then I am toasted. But thankfully I did take range, and the next primary target is going to be that Mauler, as you can see. Now, it is very surprising that I didn't encounter any very fast very fast cruiser here or very fast destroyer. That means this mission is absolutely safe to do with this type of ship, because there is not going to be any very fast cruiser or frigate approaching. In my case, these are very good news, because I don't have to worry about warping in or changing my fit. And all of these targets are now easy kills. And as you can see, I don't have any problems doing these missions at all. Now, I have to say though, this ship is performing a little bit better than the Vexter Navy. In terms of drone DPS, the ship is outperforming the Vexter Navy quite a bit actually. And that is because of the higher bonus per level on the drone DPS that the ship does offer. And 4 drones on this ship will perform better than 5 drones on the Vexter Navy, for example, which is very interesting, and so far it is indeed very good. Okay, let me quickly approach that wreck, and now let me quickly eliminate all of these elite ships that are within my range. I have to say, this might be one of the easier storyline missions, because you are not going to have to fight any very fast cruiser or very fast frigate, and most of these ships are fitted for close range combat, so you're going to be safe at around 50-60 kilometers in most cases. Of course, the cruisers are going to have around 55 kilometer range. A simple shield booster will do the job, because they're not going to do too much damage at that distance, and a shield booster and of course potentially with a capacitor battery are going to keep you safe at 50-55 kilometers from these cruisers and from these ships. Okay, well, last 2 ships are left on the field, and let me slowly take them out. Now I will be also preparing myself to take distance from the last target, because I don't know if there is going to be another wave of enemy ships, and it's always recommended to be safe. So I'll be taking the safe range now. Okay, well, and of course this ship is indeed very fast. I still didn't get the engineering rigs for this ship, because I do want to get the higher tier rigs, and for that I do need a lot of ISK, which I'll be getting very soon. And well, this mission will have a 3rd wave. The 3rd wave will have at least 27 ships, and in this case sorry for the weird cut. Again, I did have a phone call mid-mission. That usually happens when I record during the day. That's why I like to play the game during night, because at like 3 AM I cannot get any phone call. It would be very weird if I did get a phone call at 3 AM, but thankfully that never happened so far. Alright, well, back to the mission. I will focus on, let's see, I think I'll focus on the Omen, but first I have to create some very nice screenshots over here. Yep, the Omen will be the next target. Okay, so far I have to say this mission is very easy, and it is doable with a tier 5 and should be doable with a tier 4 destroyer as well. Now, as for the destroyers, I'm kind of not sure if you can do these in a Talvar. I am very sure that you can do these missions in a Algos or a Algos sniper, because these ships do use drones, and you can use the same tactic that I'm using with the Algos destroyers. But I guess I'll have to try that out as well. At the moment I have a list of at least 10 ships that I do have to fly. Most of these ships was recommended to me by you, the viewers. and it is my duty to fly all of these ships, but of course for that I need a lot of ISK. So I'll have to do a lot of these missions per day in order to obtain all of these ships in a decent time frame. Okay, that omen is down, and that's a very nice ISK reward. I might actually do a couple of these missions in one day because of how easy they actually are, and I will also try out several different builds for this ship, starting with a armor tank fit. Although, like I did say before, these ships are not designed for armor tanking. They are designed for DPS and for long range. That's why I do like these ships a lot. Okay, well, that frigate did come a little bit too close, but that's not a big problem. I will just melt this frigate, and well, the decomposers are actually doing more alpha damage than the decomposers are actually doing more damage than the drones. That's kind of funny. Alright, well, 25 more ships are left. Oh my god, that's a lot of ships. Most of the time is consumed by shooting down these elite ships, so that might be the only drawback of these missions. But they do give decent loot, and I am not going to complain about getting decent loot. Alright, let's see, the next target will be that destroyer, and the last target here will be a destroyer as well. It took me 26 minutes to clear the third wave and to reach this one ship here, which is quite a decent time frame with this ship and with drones only. That is an estimate of 1 minute per ship, which is very nice, and I am very satisfied with that time. Okay, well, that's the last ship of this mission, and I have to say that was actually very fun to do. That was very fun to do. And now it will be time to go to the station and complete the mission, and after that I'll be showing what I did get from that supply crate. Well, 22 million ISK, nice, that's a very nice reward. And now it is time to see what I will get from that supply crate. Now, I am indeed very impressed by this ship. I know it is not the best ship for PvP and it is not the best ship for PvP, but it is getting the job done, and so far this ship did not disappoint me. And I do have a lot of fun flying it. It does feel like the Pilgrim from EVE Online, although the Pilgrim does have I think more usable bonuses, and this ship can be buffed. Hopefully the developers will buff these ships. Okay, let's open this. Let's see what's inside. I am very curious to see what I'll get. Okay, oh, what is this? Single diode miner. Well, I think because it's a miner I can sell that for a decent price. Oh my god, 11 million ISK. Okay, well, I guess this was a good catch. I'm definitely going to sell that because I don't have a use for these modules, especially for miners. And well, with that being said, that was the storyline mission. It was quite fun to do, and the rewards are actually very nice. And well, with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that I could help. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.